In today's video, we're going to be cooking beef ribs Texas style. These are going to be amazing, but before we do, I've picked this up online. Now, if you're around the kind of the barbecue community for a while, you might know that this looks like a slow and sear. It's not a slow and sear. Now, I have no affiliation with anybody on this, but I've been thinking about a slow and sear for a while because you get the water pan here essentially, so you can kind of fill this with water and it's kind of keeps the humidity and all that, which is great, right? For me at the moment, it's about 140 or maybe $160 to get the actual official slow and sear. So before I kind of buy one of those, I want to see, will I use it a lot? I guess my baskets on the old Weber are way beyond it. They're well over 10 years old at this stage. So I'm thinking, okay, this was served up to me on Temu of all places. So essentially this is a knockoff slow and sear and we're going to find out, is it any good? Now, build quality, I mean, there's only kind of a few wells in it. I'm far from an expert on wells, but it looks okay to my eyes. I mean, it's not that heavy. And this isn't that solid, but what's the worst that can happen? So let's get this fired up and then let's get to our beef ribs. I'll be honest, I have no idea how we're actually going to control temps with this. I just guessed the usual way. One thing I do notice with the official slow and sear is that there's a kind of a grill grate here. There's a grate for the charcoal. There's nothing here, which means might be a little bit more airflow, more of a tidy up anyway. So let's get this in. So it's back there as far as it can go. Because the beef ribs is a long cook, I'm using Weber briquettes today. Now, these will burn for a long time. And essentially, I'm not lighting these in a chimney starter. I'm actually going to be lighting them in this slow and sear knockoff. I would think there is more than enough here. Now, next step is I'm going to use these tumbleweeds just to get some of the charcoal in. Anytime I've seen anybody using the slow and sear, they start them like this. So Vic will go screw it up. So I'm going to bury these down a little bit so they're not just burning on top. And let's be honest, you're not a pit master unless you're starting your fire with an unnecessary blowtorch. But anyway, here we go. My first thought with the water, because this is like a cheap knockoff, is this going to rust kind of more or less instantly? It says it's like stainless steel, it shouldn't rust. Doesn't seem to be anything leaking, so obviously a good start with this knockoff. And then a few little pieces of hickory of some oak as well that we're just going to dump in here. And if you are using something like the Weber, which you have to for this, you can just like angle it that you can raise up the back and you can get a bit of wood in along the journey. It's probably not even going to make it this far, but vents are open on the bottom all the way because it's going to be very slow burn. So it's going to go from kind of one side to the other. So the idea here, charcoal here lit, is going to burn all the way along here slowly. And we can try and dial in the temps as we go, but we're looking for beef ribs around 250, 275 max. That's Fahrenheit as well. And if you're not on the Fahrenheit buzz, nothing I can do for you. This is beef ribs in Ireland. It's not that hard to get them. They're also called the Jacob's Ladder. These aren't the dino ribs that you're going to find in Texas, but I did look for the biggest one I could. This is 1.97 kgs, so it's pretty big, but again, not monstrous Texas size, but it will be good. Now, there's a little bit of trim involved in this. If you've never trimmed anything before, if I can do it, and I'll hack this up, then anybody can do it. I mean, these look, ooh, these are legit actually. These look a lot better in person. There is substantial meat here, and even the kind of the last crappy one. I mean, look at that. All we got to do is take off this kind of fat that's not really going to render down that well. And any kind of little bits that might just burn up. This is one of the things I'm trying to get better at all the time. And that's just doing a little bit of butchery. Any hard fat, it feels hard in your hand, take it off. But this layer here, not going to be nice to eat, not going to break down, so you can scalp it. Some folks will leave it on. once you've got this kind of trimmed, and I haven't done too bad of a job in this one, then flip it over and we are going to season it. Now, membrane in the back, it holds it together. You're not going to be eating it really, and I leave it on for these, but if you want to take it off, take it off. Now, I am using Holy Cow from Meat Church. You want a kind of a pepper heavy rub for proper Texas vibe off of these beef ribs. So use whatever rub you have, but basic salt, pepper. That's it. You know, like maybe 1.5 times pepper to 1 part salt, or 2 to 1. And just loosely, let's get it on. You can see this rub is quite pepper heavy. You can see all those black flakes there. We'll get the sides as we're upside down, because that would be a rookie move. Once you've got it done, leave it sit out for maybe 20, 30 minutes if you want. It's just going to draw some of the moisture out. Then we're going to get it on this knockoff Slow and Sear. We're up around the 250, 265 right now, and it seems to be kind of holding strong. So let's take a look at how things are going inside here. Okay, so we can see we are burning away quite nicely. We have got a pretty amazing looking color on this from Meat Church. So let's get these in. So we have our water pan still going, so that's going to give some humidity to everything. And then we kind of have the thickest part of these beef ribs here, because they're going to take longer to cook versus the kind of scrawny little bits at the end. And now, time-wise here, we're going to about 160 Fahrenheit. Then we're going to wrap it and bring it to about 205, 210. That could take anywhere from 8 hours to 10 hours. Just do it the temp, but the temp here should kind of stay locked in. And so far, this knockoff Slow and Sear seems to be okay. Whether it disintegrates or not by the end of this video, I'm sure we'll find out. These guys wrapped. I mean, look at this. The smell of this. So we're going to wrap these. A little bit of butcher paper. Now, you could wrap them in tin foil, but tin foil will cause you to lose some of your crispy bark, which is absolutely half of the fun and the flavor. If you don't have butter, you could use beef tallow or anything like that. And we're going to put them down this way down. And there we go, so you can feel our butter is there. Now what we want to do is stick our probe back in here so we can monitor this until it's about 205, 210, and then everything is rendered down and it's going to be amazing. And from time to time, this may well hit a stall where it's just going to stick at one temperature for a while, but just leave it there, it's going to power through. Now, you don't have to keep this on your Weber at this stage, or whatever you're using. I'm using the Weber because of the Slow and Sear knockoff. You could throw it into your oven once it's wrapped. It's taken all the smoke flavor. Smoke isn't going to penetrate through the butcher paper. BTUs are BTUs, but because we're all kind of purists, we will just keep going on our barbecue, our smoker, our Weber, or whatever. We have just hit 210, so let's do probe. Ooh, look at that. More heat. Right, so here's our probe. I mean, look at this. Like, stop beeping. There is zero resistance here. Wow, okay. This is done. It needs a rest. So we're going to leave it here for probably 45 minutes, give or take. And then we're going to open this and see how insane it is. And by the way, like a beef rib, you don't have to just like pull the bone and have the big dinosaur stuff. You can actually just really quickly shred this up if you wanted to do kind of short rib tacos or anything else that you want. Or you could throw this into a mac and cheese. Either way, this is going to rest for about 45 minutes. This has been resting for probably just over an hour now at this stage. So let's unwrap this. And you don't need me to tell you the smells in this thing are just absolutely freaking sane. Oh man. Look at this. Look at this. Oh my God. Look at this beef. This is, let's, this bone is gone. This bone is gone. So let's get this over here. Oh man. I mean, look, this is gone. Wow. These are freaking insane. Oh, look at that. Look at this. Oh, man, this is just nuts. You owe it to yourself to make yourself one of these insane beef ribs. They're so easy to use. And then you can shred them up if you want, make tacos, do whatever, or just gnaw them right off. Nuts. Let's take a look at our knockoff Slow and Sear type thing here. And still seems to be in good nick. Hasn't melted. Water's definitely gone down, but I mean, look at that. Got the water out. I'm actually not sure if we need to dry this or not, but anybody let me know in the comments. But so far, integrity to this thing still the same. I don't think it's shrunk. Yeah. The only thing is there's no grate here, so there's a bit more of a cleanup. That's the discoloration on it from a very long cook. This was kind of getting hot since about 9-ish, 10-ish this morning. It's now 7:30, so you know, nearly a good 12 hours, and it's cooled down quite quickly. And yeah, I'd be interested to know what the normal or the proper Slow and Sear is like compared to this knockoff, but works really well. I know it's only a piece of metal, but yeah, hasn't melted, hasn't disfigured. I think this was a win.